For 4 months, while she slept, a 200-pound Boerboel was doing something at exactly 3:14 a.m. every single night, without exception, without anyone knowing. Vanessa didn't know, her neighbors didn't know, even the dog's previous owner had no idea. It was only when she set up a security camera in her hallway, expecting to catch a possum or a raccoon, that she finally pressed play, watched the footage 3 times in a row, and ended up sitting on her kitchen floor in tears. Vanessa Rhodes was 32 years old, recently divorced, and living in a quiet 2-bedroom house on the edge of Asheville, North Carolina. She wasn't looking for a dog. She wasn't looking for company. What she wanted was a presence in the house, something heavy at the door, something that would keep her safe at night when she woke up at 2 a.m. and stared at the ceiling, wondering if every creak was a footstep. When her friend Dana called on a Tuesday afternoon, Vanessa had already eaten dinner alone for the 11th night in a row. "My cousin Marcus is moving to Germany Friday. He has a Boerboel, 200 pounds. He has to find a home in 24 hours. There's no other option. Vanessa, please, you have a fenced yard. You live alone. You'd be perfect." Vanessa had never heard the word Boerboel. She Googled it while Dana talked. South African Mastiff, bred to guard farms against lions, powerful, protective, loyal. A guard dog. That's what she needed. So she said yes. She met Marcus the next morning at a gas station off Highway 26. He pulled up in a blue pickup truck, opened the tailgate, and out stepped Boaz, 203 pounds of fawn-colored muscle with a black mask and a tongue that hung out of one side of his mouth. He looked at Vanessa for exactly 3 seconds. Then he walked over, sat directly on her left foot, and didn't move. Marcus laughed nervously. He's never done that with anyone before. Vanessa looked down, Boaz looked up, and in that moment, something passed between them that she didn't have a word for yet. She loaded him into the back of her own pickup truck. The drive home was 90 minutes. Boaz didn't move once. The first week proved her wrong about everything she expected. She thought a guard dog would patrol, stay outside, be intimidating. Boaz did none of those things. He followed her from room to room. When she went to the bathroom, he sat outside the door. When she cooked dinner, he placed his enormous head on the kitchen counter like a customer waiting to order. When she sat on the couch, he climbed up next to her, all 203 pounds of him, and laid his head on her lap until her leg went numb. He wouldn't eat unless she sat with him. He carried her left slipper everywhere, only the left, never the right, and dropped it in front of her every morning like a peace offering. His breathing was like a broken diesel engine and snored like a man who had given up on life. His drool puddle under the kitchen table grew so large that Vanessa eventually gave up and just put a towel down permanently. This wasn't a guard dog. This was a shadow in a fawn coat with a serious commitment problem. By the end of week 3, Vanessa had stopped fighting it. She led Boaz onto the bed. She let him drool on her work laptop. She started talking to him out loud, full sentences, conversations, complaints about her ex-husband. Boaz listened. He didn't judge. Then one night, she woke up at 3:18 a.m. The bedroom was silent, too silent. Boaz, who normally breathed like a broken diesel engine at the foot of her bed, wasn't there. She sat up slowly. Her heart pounded. Her hand reached for the lamp and froze. She listened. Nothing. She walked into the hallway barefoot, careful not to make a sound, and found him standing at the back door, completely still, ears forward, body rigid. His tail wasn't moving. His eyes were locked on the glass. He turned his head and looked at her. Then he looked back at the door. She stood there for almost a minute. Nothing happened. No sound, no movement outside. After a while, Boaz turned, walked past her, and returned to his spot at the foot of the bed. He sighed once and closed his eyes. But Vanessa didn't sleep again that night. The next morning, before her coffee even finished brewing, she opened her laptop and ordered a security camera with night vision, same-day delivery. She told herself she just wanted peace of mind. I see you're still watching, but you haven't subscribed yet. That honestly stings a little. Hit subscribe. What comes next is the part that broke her open. 4 days later, she opened the footage. She made coffee at 6:47 a.m. on a Saturday morning, sat at the kitchen table in her robe and pressed play. She expected to see nothing, maybe a possum in the yard, maybe a raccoon. What she saw made her set her coffee cup down and forget it was there. Boaz bought up at exactly 3:14 a.m. every single night. The camera caught him rising slowly from the foot of her bed, his enormous body moving with a kind of silence that didn't seem possible for a 203-pound dog. He paused for 2 seconds at the edge of the bed, head tilted, listening. Then he walked into the hallway. His first stop was the back door. He pressed his nose to the bottom seam where the air came through. He held it there for 11 seconds. Then he straightened up and listened. 11 more seconds. His second stop was the front door. Same routine. Nose to the seam, 11 seconds. Listen, 11 seconds. His third stop was the kitchen window. He stood up on his hind legs, all 203 pounds of him, placed his front paws gently on the sill, and looked out into the backyard. He stayed like that for almost half a minute, his head turning slowly from left to right, scanning the dark. His fourth and final stop was the laundry room window, the smallest window in the house, the one Vanessa had never thought about. He pressed his nose to the corner of the glass and stood there, ears forward, body still as a statue. 4 stops, always the same order, always the same pace, 11 seconds at each one. But that wasn't what shocked her. After the patrol, every night without fail, Boaz would return to her bedroom, walk slowly to the side of her bed, and lower his enormous head until his nose was inches above her chest. He held it there for 4 seconds, listening, watching her breathe. Then he would lie back down. Vanessa rewound the footage. She watched again. The same thing happened on the second night, the third, the fourth. Identical patrol, identical chest check, identical return to the foot of the bed. He had been doing this for 4 months, while she slept, while the world spun on around them, every single night at exactly 3:14 a.m. A 200-pound dog had been quietly making the rounds of her house and then standing over her to make sure she was still breathing. He wasn't just guarding the house, he was guarding her. Vanessa closed her laptop. She stood up. She walked into the living room where Boaz was sleeping on his back with his legs in the air, snoring like a small earthquake. She sat down on the floor next to him. He opened one eye. He didn't move. She wrapped both arms around his enormous neck and pressed her forehead against his. "You've been doing this every night," she whispered. "Why didn't you tell me?" He licked her cheek once slowly and went back to sleep. She stayed on the floor for nearly an hour, her hand resting on his ribcage, feeling it rise and fall under her palm. She didn't want to move. Boaz let out a slow sigh that rumbled through his entire body. He didn't open his eyes. He didn't need to. For the first time in over a year, the silence in the house didn't feel empty. It felt earned. It felt like a home she had stopped believing existed. Some moments stay with you forever. This was one of them. Boerboels are not built like other dogs. South African farmers bred them to defend against lions and leopards, but they were also raised inside the home, not outside. The breed standard describes them as protective without being aggressive, vigilant without being anxious. They don't bark, they don't pace, they watch, they decide. And once a Boerboel decides you are theirs, that decision does not expire. The name itself comes from the Afrikaans word for farmer. For 300 years, these dogs slept inside their families' homes at night and patrolled the perimeter at dawn. They were never just guard dogs. They were family members with a job description. Boaz was simply doing what his blood remembered. Stories like this are exactly why we keep telling them. Vanessa is now 33. Boaz is 6. They've been together for 19 months. Every night at exactly 3:14 a.m., he still makes the rounds. Back door, front door, kitchen window, laundry room window, then back to her bed to listen for her breathing. She doesn't wake up at 2 a.m. anymore. She doesn't stare at the ceiling. She sleeps through the night for the first time in 3 years. Every morning at exactly 6:15 a.m., Boaz walks to the side of her bed and sneezes once, loud, dramatic. His whole body shakes with it. It is his alarm clock, his greeting, his way of saying it is time to start another day together. The neighbor who once asked if Boaz was safe to have around now waves at him from her porch every evening. The mailman who used to leave packages at the curb now hand delivers them to the front door because Boaz sits on the porch like a fawn-colored statue and watches him with quiet curiosity. Her grocery bill went up 40%. Her electricity bill stayed the same because Boaz throws off enough body heat to warm the entire living room. The little girl across the street who used to hide whenever Boaz walked by now waits at the fence every afternoon just to watch him. A few months ago, she showed the footage to her sister. Her sister cried for almost 10 minutes. "He chose you," she said. "He chose you the moment he sat on your foot." Vanessa smiled. She had known that for a long time. The truth is, Vanessa didn't adopt a guard dog. She thought she did. She prepared for one. She was promised one. But what walked out of the back of that pickup truck on a Tuesday morning at a gas station off Highway 26 wasn't a guard dog at all. It was a friend with 4 paws, a wrinkled face, and a heart big enough to carry her through every quiet night she had been afraid of. When you adopt a dog, sometimes you think you know what you're getting: a pet, a protector, a companion. But dogs decide what they will be to you. Boaz chose Vanessa the moment he sat on her foot, and every night since, at 3:14 a.m., he has been making the same choice all over again. Is this love or is this instinct? Tell me in the comments. I want to know what you think.